Hey guys, so we are going to start this channel with a series on JavaScript, and this video will be the first video in that series. In this series, we will talk about JavaScript, the basics of it, and it is going to be a good resource for those of you who are just starting out with programming or who just want to understand the JavaScript, because JavaScript is a vital tool in your toolbox as a web developer. And what is JavaScript? So first of all, we will talk about JavaScript. And JavaScript is a programming language. It is a high-level programming language and also a scripting language used inside the browsers. It basically is the language of web, and uh, as you know, there is HTML, CSS. The HTML is used to display or to define the content of your web page, while the CSS is used to define the styling of your web page, and the JavaScript is there to define the behavior of your web page. So it is really important that you understand what JavaScript does. JavaScript is used to make dynamic web pages, and by dynamic I mean it can use to handle multimedia, and it can be used to handle animations and a lot of other things, like you can do video calls while using JavaScript. And like for example, if any web page you see and you see some type of animation, probably it is from JavaScript. So in order to start coding in JavaScript, you need one tool for now, and that tool is Visual Studio Code. So you can go to code.visualstudio.com and you can download it for whatever operating system you have, for example Mac, Windows, or Linux. And once you have it downloaded, what we are going to do is we're going to create a new folder here. We'll call it JavaScript, and then we right click here inside the folder and we select open with code. And you will find this once you install the Visual Studio Code. While you are inside the Visual Studio Code and you have your folder open, we can create an HTML file. So basically, if you know HTML, some basics of HTML, it is going to help you. You don't need to know the HTML in order to follow along with this series, but if you know it, it will be really helpful for you. So just type the exclamation mark and press tab, and you will get some boilerplate code just to test our JavaScript. So we can change the title to JavaScript. And in order to have JavaScript in this page, for example, what we need to do, what we usually do, there are two ways. We either define the script tag here in the head section, or we define the script tag at the end of the body section. One of these two places, not the both. So it is always a good idea to have your JavaScript at the end of your page. And the reason being that you don't want your page to be stuck if there is something which is stuck inside the JavaScript, you know. And if JavaScript is not running, for example, or it is stuck somewhere on some code or some line of code, then your page will be blank. Okay, we don't want that. So I'll explain that in a while or in some other videos. So H1, and we will write hello world. So right now we don't need this script tag, and we are not using it. It is empty, as you can see, but we can just open this file inside our browser, any browser of your choice. I'll choose Google Chrome, and here we have our page running. So the first thing which we are going to see, just to see how JavaScript works, is that we will write console.log and we will type in here something. You can just type hello world from JavaScript, and you have to end this with semicolon. Okay, so console.log your whatever script string you have, and then the semicolon. Now we'll go in here, we'll refresh our browser, go in here, and we will select the developer tools, or you can use the shortcut key which is Control Shift I. I don't know what it is for Mac. And if we go to console, we can see Hello World from JavaScript, which we wrote as our JavaScript. Okay, so you can see this JavaScript being rendered inside the browser. So JavaScript is basically every browser has something called a JavaScript engine. And this JavaScript engine is responsible for rendering or for interpreting or for compiling this JavaScript code and then running it. So that is how this is being done. And there are so many things which we can do with JavaScript. And we will keep uncovering those things while we move forward in our journey. But for now, this is what we kick off with. So you can change here, for example, you can change anything once you press refresh. As you can see, everything is changing in the console. There is one more thing that I want you to understand before we finish this video. While this is a really simple web page, but in real life, your web page and your HTML and your CSS even have hundreds and thousands of lines, or at least hundreds of lines. And your JavaScript will also have hundreds or maybe even thousands of lines of code. So it is not a very good idea to keep both of these, your HTML and your JavaScript, in the same file as we have done here. So basically what the norm is that we keep two separate files, okay? One for our index HTML, and then another file. I'm naming it right now as javascript.js. You can give it any name at all. It doesn't make any difference. And we will just cut all our code and we'll paste in this file. And as you can see now, while we have this saved, and if we refresh, there is nothing in the console, okay, because we have deleted this line of code. Now we will add this file into our script tag by using an attribute called src, which stands for source, okay. And we will just type the name of our file, and we will save. And once we refresh our browser, you can see it works again. So it is always a good idea to keep your files separate, okay. And there is one more thing which I want you to understand before we finish this video, I promise it is the last thing. That is the comments. The comments are not rendered by the JavaScript engine, by the browser. This is something which you can write for your reference or for the reference of any other developer who might have to modify your software. So basically in the comments, you basically just write or why you are doing what you are doing in this line of code. You don't write what you are doing, okay, because that should be obvious from the code itself, but you write why you are doing whatever you are doing. So basically these are the basic things which I just wanted to share with you. And we have seen just a small example, and in the next video we'll start talking about the variables. Thank you very much.